How many of you have ever been in a dysfunctional team? A team that did not work, something did not work. A lot of people, I think almost everybody. What didn't work there?
Disagreements on leadership?
Disagreements in leadership. Leadership.
Communication. Crazy people.
Leadership. Communication, another great one. Distribution of tasks. And many others. Today in team building, that's a classic example of experiential learning. What we do is we use games, we use journaling activities, we use drama, and we try to simulate real life situations and then experiences real life situations through the games. And in the end, we try to deal with the challenges and we try to see what went wrong, what went right, and take it back to our lives and try to do it differently the next time. Today, there are hundreds of companies that will do a team building for you. They are professional, they have highly experienced instructors, and they can offer you an amazing program and squeeze the very best out of you. These programs are often very expensive. They're done for big corporations with like huge hierarchy and a lot of employees. In the next about 15 minutes, I think we have, I want to show you some key situations where you can use team building and what you can help you with, and I would like to show you how you can do it yourself. So, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna count to 3. Everybody can count to 3, and I'm gonna show you how it's gonna go. Can I ask you to help me? Yes. All right. So we're gonna take turns in counting, and whenever we reach 3, we're gonna start counting again. So it might look like this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. You wanna join us? Yes. Try that? 1. Perfect. Give it a go.
2, 3, 1.
All right. So we're gonna spice it up a little bit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take number 1, and instead of saying number 1, we're gonna replace it by clapping our hands. Would you mind watching our couple to demonstrate it here?
3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2.
All right. Wanna join them? Wanna try that? All right. This will be a little harder, and you can probably know what we're gonna do next. We're gonna replace number 2, and we're gonna, instead of number 2, we're gonna slap our thighs, just like that. So can I at least ask our fellow to demonstrate? You can join them right away.
3.
The rest is still the same. All right, here we go. How's it going? Pretty well. There's no need to mention what we're gonna do next, right? We're gonna take number 3, and we're gonna replace it by hopping. Wanna try that?
Yes.
All right, go for it. Everybody got it? Great work. Thank you. Okay, so here are the 3 key situations that I actually tried to put team building for, and one of them is when we have a new team which is forming. One of them is when we have a team that's already formed, but we have some people that are coming to join us. And the last, when we try to improve a team that already exists, but maybe has some of these issues. So let's have a look at what needs to be done to actually even start thinking about having great experience.
I think you want to make them feel included, like they're in a safe place. Whatever they're going to do after that is going to be acceptable.
Absolutely. So we want to include everybody. We want to make sure that everybody's there. What else?
Maybe play an icebreaker game, like if Vlad or Shell is talking to each other.
Wow, icebreaker game. That's a cool thing. I'm sure we're going to talk about them later. Absolutely.
And I think the icebreaker game could involve an introduction or a dating game as the first icebreaker.
Introduction, we definitely want them to know each other. We want them to know themselves by names. And we might also want them to get to know something about each other. Who runs fast? Who thinks? Who doesn't like to lose in the game? You need to introduce each other, you need them to work in teams and get to know each other. So this one game can cover a lot. It's usually called lineup or a human alphabet. The goal of the game is to stand lined up in alphabetical order according to your first name. And the only rule is that you must not fall from the log. Well, if you fall from the log, you have to be creative and see what you can do with the kids. Sometimes you can say if you fall from the log, you're no longer part of this game, or you can just leave it alone and say, okay.
Protected from the group before they become part of this. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
So what we do normally, we would say, okay, this is one fall. Let's see, we'll try it again soon, and let's see if we can do better next time. So it will be probably a appropriate reaction to count how many times they fell. Alright, so when you start this game, you will see immediately how the people will start to communicate. You will see that immediately how they start to gesticulate each other. You don't even have to tell them, even if you play with little kids, you don't have to tell them to introduce each other. You don't have to tell them to tell each other their name. It's natural, it's part of the game. You will see them very soon giving hugs to each other, and they don't care if they're complete strangers. They've never seen each other, and they're crawling over each other and trying to get to the place, and they're helping each other to get where they're supposed to stand. And they don't care if they are actually breaking somebody's personal space. So from this point, this game is very important for us that we let other people in our personal space, and it doesn't even feel uncomfortable. Another one, parachute games. How many of you have heard about parachute games? Sometimes when I say parachute games with kids, people get scared. What are you doing with that? So no, it's an old parachute that we cut the lines off there. You can take about 50 games, put them around the parachute, and you would not believe what you can do with it. I wish we had one today here, so we can go to the playground and try some games ourselves. What is that? It doesn't look like Teambuilding. These are statues on Easter Island. The funny thing is that nobody knows how they got there because this kind of stone is nowhere around, so they had to be transported there. And people were trying to figure out how they got there and how people in olden days were transporting these massive blocks. And actually inspired a game called My Statues. There's this big wooden triangle, a big wooden construction, and there's our statue in the middle of the construction. And what you can't see on the picture is ropes going from the top, 4 ropes going from the top, and ropes going from the bottom as well. And these people are trying to pull through these ropes together so that they can actually make the statue to walk. It's a little tricky to see what's happening on there. So let's move to another one, a ladder. Very simple game where the goal of the game is to take one person, and the person has to climb over the ladder, up and down. The ladder has to stand upright, but there is nothing anchoring it. So you got your team standing all around the ladder at the bottom, holding it as much as they can, and this person is climbing over the top. I don't know how it works in States and everywhere else. You can say in the Czech Republic, I afford to do that without a harness. But with you, I wouldn't risk it at some places. Health and safety. Spider web. Again, people who were at Teambuildings will know this. This is probably the most known and most used game. What happens is you have 2 trees and spider web made up of rope or string. And you have these big eyes in the spider web or spaces. And what happens is your team all comes to the web on one side, and you got to transport all these things to the other side through the web. And the tricky thing is that no one must not touch the web. So how are you going to transport the people? Are you going to transport first heavy ones, first light ones? Are they going to help you on the other side? It's a lot of things to figure out. This is how it normally works. One person, just like a piece of board going through. Let's have a look what they have in common. Everybody see that they're probably not as simple as 1, 2, 3 that we played at the beginning, right? They are way more complicated. They would challenge a team, as we can imagine in the case of the ladder, for example. There's usually more than one solution to the game, and in order to accomplish the game, you will need to develop some kind of strategy. You will need to come up with some good ideas, with some good communication, and many other qualities. So I think it's pretty clear that we can use these kind of games to, take our team and to make it work better, to challenge it really, and to see where we can improve. In team building, we call these games dynamics. No longer icebreakers, they become dynamics. One usually lasts about 15 to 60 minutes. Reflection, debriefing after activity. So why do we do that? There was a lot of emotions after it, and blaming each other for failing in the game. So this debrief, first of all, helps us to calm down these emotions. It also helps us to really sit down with the group and see what went right, but what went wrong, where did we do mistakes, how can we do it better. There is some suggestion what you can change for the next time, and realize that we actually put this game there because you have these problems in the company and it simulates it very nicely, and here is the solution for you. The review is the most difficult discipline from the team building. If you want to do the debrief, we're there as a facilitator, asking them questions, leading them to what we think is right, but letting them to figure it out for themselves. It was a game called Parbat, where the kids were climbing in the steep hill right next to the forest. And although it wasn't a real expedition, those kids had the same feeling as if they were experienced climbers. They were exhausted, they were full of excitement to get on the top. They were feeling deep connected to one another. And even on this hill, they had to make important decisions. They had to be fully responsible for those decisions. And even here, they had to find an optimal strategy of how to get all the way up. So in these situations, it's not the game what is so important, it's the feeling we have when we play. When we're little kids, it doesn't take much to us to kick in and to completely leave the world of reality and dive into the game. But as you grow a little older, this opportunity begins to disappear. And all these games that we used to play in the childhood, they begin to turn into things that we call a relationship, or running a small NGO, or having a team meeting. So, if you sometimes feel that you're getting lost in those complicated situations and games, if you try to take some of these simple ones where the rules are still black and white, try to play some icebreakers, try to play some dynamics, and remember the experience must be strong, just like this one. Thank you.